People who have the authority, who have the power, who are sitting on those chairs, they think more about themselves than think about the future of India. They say it's an old man sport. And when I was in school, I was often bullied about it.
Hello and welcome to Rulebreaker. We're breaking the rules, but what rules are we breaking? In the spotlight is Vani Kapoor, fantastic sports person. I have tracked her journey for donkey's years, but most of all, a role model of how women can embrace golf and make it work too. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for being with me. It's been, I don't know, now almost decade plus that I've seen you. Where is Vani today?
Vani is probably very content with life at the moment, with all that she's achieved. Still hungry for more. Probably she's found her identity. And yeah, in the midst of achieving more, working harder.
So you're playing now at the Ladies European Tour, you're playing in the Indian Tour. It's finally established that India has excellent golf talent. Yes. Now, it doesn't take me screaming so loudly. It's just been years and years of trying to convince the world to see what has happened. How has that changed the game for you?
Because when I started playing golf, I used to be the only girl playing at DLF. And my parents had to tell, my coach that keep an eye on her because I was always surrounded by boys. And now when I go to DLF, there's so many girls doing well, making a mark. And if you see the data, I mean, I hope I'm not wrong, but women golfers are doing slightly better than men golfers.
Wow.
Considering, what the numbers are like, we're very few in numbers, but we are so many of us playing out there on the European Tour. We don't have an Asian Tour, so not many playing in that area.
Yeah.
And also we have Aditi playing at LPGA. So it's definitely been good.
Yeah. No, I think it's been fantastic. But, to the point you just said that, we don't have an Asian Tour. We need more people to sort of support the game. Both of us have been talking about this for more than a decade. And that just doesn't seem to move it. I remember when we had this entire cricket victory, somebody finally said, get beyond cricket, get money in all other sport where talent is, and Indian women and men both have a lot of talent outside of cricket. How are you beginning to now rally behind that idea? Because, role models like you can only speak up.
So, I'm going to be very honest. I feel like right now is my time to play. I definitely want to change the future for upcoming golfers, but I want to recon my time that I have.
Yeah.
And but I feel like definitely by voicing it out, that there needs to be a norm where every corporate house should support a sport. That's when India is going to get more medals. Even if you see in schools, there are probably 2 sessions, half-an-hour sessions of sports class or PE, whatever they call it. And then you want your child to go and win a medal. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah. Everything needs to change. They say grassroots levels, just start changing it in schools. Every corporates who are there, they can change it because they have the money. Going out there and achieving it on their own is extremely, extremely tough.
Yeah. But I love this idea. Every corporate should do this. It's a bit like CSR, compulsory for your governance.
So everyone, what people do is they put money into events. No one backs players. But how simple it is, if I'm saying have your events, but have a brand ambassador, 1 woman, 1 maid, and do it.
Yeah.
How much money is the professional golfer or any athlete going to ask you? But that little money is also more than enough to start with, at least.
Yeah. And we never hear cricketers say little money. They ask for
big. They play 1 match, they're sorted.
And they get big. But, again, we're fresh from the Olympics. And there is so much Indian talent out there, up there. I mean, our best medals in badminton have been taken by women. We don't have medals, so to speak, in golf. But look at you all. You've got trophies after trophies in your name. What do you think holds people back still? I mean, you know the inside story because you're a player.
I think people who have the authority, who have the power, who are sitting on those chairs, they think more about themselves than think about the future of India. I think that's precisely it.
Yeah, and maybe that's what needs to change. Vani, let's talk about your own journey. It's been many years of playing, but you've been at it. There's some reward for consistency and how that changes the game at some point.
Yes. I mean, God has been kind. I mean, even I think over it, like last 12 years of being professional and before that having a great amateur career. I think the one thing that's always kept me going is that I love winning. And that's just like I have that hunger. So I guess that's the answer to the question.
Right. When you say I love winning, scratch that surface for me.
Just to be satisfied with the work that I have put in. So actually my definition of success or winning has kept changing with time. So when I was younger, it was, of course, winning trophies and, enjoying that moment. But now, I guess after 12 years, it's the hard work that I've put in and the returns that I've got is what makes me satisfied. So I might win a tournament right now, but if I know internally I haven't given it my best, I still won't be, happy or satisfied. But that's what it looks like.
What kind of investment are you doing in your own health and nutrition as you now power ahead, at the peak of your career?
Definitely, the one major thing that has happened is having a sports psychologist. Physical fitness was always there, having a golf coach, having my parents' support. But what has been added is a sports psychologist. I think it's also trending right now. It definitely helps. Back then when I started, there was not much knowledge about it. You had to, fight your battles on your own or probably ask your coach or ask my parents how to go about it. And probably even they did not have that much knowledge. So you just used to kind of find your way through. But now having a sports psychologist, it's much more easier.
Yeah. What does it change for you having a sports psychologist?
I think it reasons out things better. It connects you to yourself. You get to know your whys, you get to know your purpose. And when you get to know your purpose, it drives you more.
Yeah. We really underestimate the impact of mental health on the ability to play physical sport.
Yes.
Right. It's not just strength.
Yes.
Otherwise, Steph Curry would have given up basketball at the early stages of being considered not tall enough, not muscular enough, etc. How do you think that relationship is for you?
I think it's, after having a sports psychologist, it's really helped. I feel I can give in more power into my game. By power, I don't really mean like physical power, but by using my strengths, making my weakness better, so which in turn results in having better performances.
Yeah. And as you do that, how do you sort of, is there a ratio you follow that in let's say a day of 10 hours of work, you're going to spend 3 hours on your mental strength training and like 4 hours on your physical strength and then practice? How does a sports person in golf around this think about it?
So again, when I was younger, I was taught that you need to work hard, but I was never taught how to work smart and according to, what my needs are. So I used to go around, hit 1,000 balls a day, spend 12 hours at the golf course, and that was just a part of my DNA. And after working with these sports psychologists, I learned that, putting in so much time, effort, is not necessarily enough. You can do it in a shorter period of time if you have achieved all your targets. And everyone has a different plan, different strategy, how to achieve it. Yeah. So I actually had to, past 2-3 years, unlearn how to not overwork, because that also draws energy away from you. And then the output that you give is not powerful enough. Yeah. So that's one thing that has definitely changed. And that also has an impact on your self-confidence, the self-belief. Because first it was proportionate to, if I do 10 or 12 hours of hard work, I will win tournaments. But now it's like the minute I'm confident, I've started working on my confidence as well. Before, I would probably not work on my confidence. I would think confidence is if I work 10 hours. Yeah. But ideally, confidence is not that. You have to work on it from scratch. You have to build that up. You can't be like, oh, if I win a tournament, I'll be confident. If I shoot under par, I'll be confident. So that scenario has changed for me.
Nice. That's a very interesting insight. Takes me to the question that perhaps comes onto the table for every sports person. Talent alone doesn't win.
No. I don't think so.
And how difficult is it to come to terms with that?
Um, so again, I feel it depends on the individual and the mindset that the person has. So for me, it's definitely a blend of talent and putting in the hard work. But if someone has the talent and the person knows and the person believes in himself so much, that might be good enough. That person might just have to work 2-3 hours, whereas I might have to put in 5-7 hours. So it completely depends person to person. That line can change.
Is there an internal battle with inertia that made it harder to make this switch? You said it's been like a decade of being pro, and then of course your amateur career. We're all conditioned to follow the path the way we're taught.
Yeah.
And I would dare say that sometimes in India, we are taught things really the long route to success or to results. So how difficult was it to shed that inertia?
Pretty difficult, because sometimes, one is faced with many circumstances where you have to make that call. So it's also, you can probably say, face your fear, because what we are taught is, like you said, the safest route.
Yeah.
Probably the guaranteed route, according to the experiences that people have had. But sometimes if you have to break the barrier, you have to think out of the box. You have to make that decision. So the way I did it was, it was probably I had to change coaches, because I was stagnating for quite some time. And I didn't know what to do. I was not seeing the results. I was feeling bad that if I, change my coach, what the dynamics will change, and, people might get hurt or whatever. And I was just super scared. And I didn't want to leave everything behind. But then there came a point where I thought, okay, either I'm never going to make it to my dream this way. Either I wouldn't say please people, but keep things safe and let's see where this route, takes me. Or I make that call, and I never regret it in my life that I gave myself a fair chance. So that was one circumstance, and I mean, it paid off well. And the last thing I would want to do is have a regret that, I had it in me, but I did not do it.
Yeah. And these are bold decisions, and especially when you are sort of in a sport that's as tiny as golf is in India, and your choices are quite different. Did you have to basically say, like, look, if I need to scale up, let me spend more time overseas, let me find more people, I think life coaches and, various kinds. How did you make that breakthrough?
I think I just called my mom and dad, and I was like, I think it's time I do it. And I did it in a fraction of a second. If I would have probably thought over it, I would have stayed with the safer route. But that was easy. And luckily, everything just fell in place for me. And I made a call to my now coach, and his name is Lawrence. And he gave me time, and I just flew, and I really liked it. So I was like, let's give it a shot.
That's brilliant. Good on you. How is Vani thinking about and how is she prioritizing her food intake? We're in a world where there's clear scientific, there's enough scientific evidence about the importance of not just eating right, but what to eat, how the proteins change your body structure. And in sport nutrition, the world is perhaps, triple clicked on the same. So how are you going about that?
I think it's been pretty easy for me, because, starting at the age of 10, by 13, I already knew that I wanted to be a professional golfer. So my diet kind of changed from there. No aerated drinks, no fast foods. I don't even want it anymore. It's not my go-to cheat meal. Probably my cheat meals are a little more healthier now. Probably I love sushi, so, just go out, have a sushi, and there's nothing, it's just carbs. So, or Asian food, which can also be very healthy, non-fried. So it's been pretty easy.
Nice. And do you recommend, especially on this show, a lot of women who watch us are wondering, when does one make a start? Why is it important to have muscular mass of a certain kind? Why is it important to make sure that you are doing some amount of weight training? Just as a sports person, what would your advice be to people, especially women who are always fearing, wanting to lift weights or just get themselves into shape outside of the traditional yoga or Zumba or whatever?
I feel like in anything in life that you want to do, firstly, it needs to come from within. And if it comes from within and it's still kind of, you're hesitant or you just don't want to make that move, if it comes from a thought that it's a sacrifice that you would probably be doing. So for example, I'm going to sacrifice all my comfort food, or for that matter, I'm going to sacrifice my comfort zone. If it comes to fitness, I'll have to put in so much hard work. But if you probably look at that sacrifice as an investment to yourself, maybe that thought, that changes, would probably push you a little long term. And then again, like to start with, discipline is extremely important. And if that happens and you start seeing results within a couple of months, then it's like a drug that you'll keep rolling on. But it's just the first few steps that you have to take and, make a commitment, which will kind of change the perspective for everyone.
Yeah. So I was having a very interesting debate with a guy yesterday. He's a YouTuber himself. And we were discussing how women in sport in India don't have enough female following. It's interesting to see how much of headline we've seen in the last 2 to 3 years with women leading different sports and winning, and breaking barriers. But even then, when we ask a general woman, how many women sports persons do you follow on Instagram? They sort of draw a blank. And I wonder why, because, there is this obsession with, I guess, film, fashion, etc. But even in sport following, the cricketers take the whole piece. This is one other way by which one could see the change, that the following of sports people, to remember the name.
Yeah.
Vani Kapoor, golfer. Not always Vani Kapoor, the Bollywood actress that you're constantly flooded with. Things like that. What is your opinion about the way popular media, and rising sports stars in India, like that relationship is very complicated?
I think it needs to be changed for, kids at a very young age. That interest of sports needs to be inculcated, and the only place that can happen is schools. Maybe for that matter, sports can be a subject besides just doing some physical activity or having, half an hour of running around and playing cricket or whatever they play. Maybe like teaching them or giving them like MCQs where who won a medal, what sport do they belong to. That interest needs to be awakened.
Yeah. And as you go around talking to regular people, what is your endeavor and what is your aim in order for them to, one, remember that conversation or interaction so that it has that little impact that you want them to have? But more importantly, just see how you can be more than just yourself a role model by doing, but a role model by also sort of expanding the way people think about sport.
So I think there's one, it's a stereotype I feel where people...
Totally is.
Where people, it happens to be that, people always judge you or remember you by what you have won and what you have achieved, be it in any sport or any field of life. And I also feel where every profession comes with a tag that you're supposed to behave in a certain way. So, or, do certain things only related to that tag. If I have to give an example, there was this one badminton player where she made a reel on Instagram from her journey of training or whatever to reaching the badminton court at the Olympics, and she just probably did a little twirl or something, or she danced. And she was trolled, and things were said like, अगर ये लोग नाचेंगे तो medals कहाँ से आएंगे? First question, आप बैठ के कैसे बोल सकते हो ये? What are you doing so that Indians win medals? And second, if she's a badminton player or I'm a sports person, I'm not generally supposed to be doing like sports all day.
Yeah. And why can't you dance?
Yeah, like why can't I live my life? And of course, golf is a part of my life, but there can be other aspects that I also like about my life, like my friends, my family, I can give them time. I'm not supposed to be into fitness or whatever. Or for example, if I have to say CEOs, they're supposed to be strict or, whatever, and, pass on commands and, have that bossy nature. Or like for yourself, if you're a digital creator, that's the field that you follow and that's the perception that you have to give.
Yeah.
But the point is, how is that X factor coming into your life?
Yeah.
And that's something that I also struggled with, where initially I was told, oh, you do this, don't do that or whatever. And I was like, I'm just not liking what I am doing, because I feel like, I have a face on and I'm leaving house. I'm supposed to behave in a certain way because probably I'm the brand ambassador of XYZ or whatever, and I need to keep people happy and blah, blah, blah. But excuse me, my first priority is to keep myself happy.
Yeah.
So I have realized that I am going to be myself. And when I am that, I tend to have more connects with people.
Yeah.
Because I'm not putting on a face and I'm probably very genuine and very honest.
There's a very interesting related element of this, and we were talking about Olympics. With the minute Manu Bhaker got her first medal, the conversation about her medal sort of fizzled into her potential in acting, her potential in modeling, and her potential in other spaces. It just seemed like there was somebody just waiting to explode into these spaces, and I've never seen this happen to a man. Nobody's ever said, when is Virat Kohli joining the films, right?
Exactly.
I mean, people are going to be aghast if somebody says that. That must be something that angers you.
Very much. Like I've been trying to control myself from reading all these, comments on other people's posts. Like for example, this morning I came across, again, you spoke about Manu Bhaker, where she went to KBC.
Yeah.
And so did Aman, the other person who won the bronze medal.
Yeah.
And the comment section was flooded with, "Bas ho gaya iska career. 2 medal क्या जीत ले, हो गया."
Yeah.
मेडल जीतना कोई आसान बात, मतलब ओलंपिक्स पहुंचना कोई आसान बात है?
केबीसी में जाओ ताकि दुनिया को और भी पता चले. Why not?
Exactly. And if you are you are given that opportunity, forget after achieving anything or not. But just as a guest, if you're invited, you will go.
You should go.
You've earned it.
Yes.
So I just feel, why can't people? I think the world will change if they say nice things
and remove the judgment.
And if they don't have anything nice to say, please don't say anything at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating because around the world, we have seen magazines after magazines that showcase women in sport as models and role models. And why not? If I am somebody who's an ignorant person and I don't watch sport, at least where I am, let me see them in fashion. I need to just find a way to get to know who this person is, whatever my path to that journey is, and it shouldn't matter. So, this is the place where I think whether you're a sports person or otherwise, you're reduced to your gender, and your gender is reduced to the dancing and prancing, and the dancing and prancing is basically reduced to somebody who's characterless.
Exactly.
And it is such an instant deduction
from an Olympic medalist,
to being somebody who has no character. I mean, I'm just thinking, in her post-shooting career, if Manu Bhaker even wants to act, now she's just stuck with this nonsense all over and
it's all baseless. It's her hard work that she's put in. It's her choices, her decisions that she's made. Other people have nothing to contribute.
Yeah.
It's their wish. They want to like the post. They want to like her acting. They want to like her shooting or not. That choice is yours. But at least don't disrespect someone's hard work that they've put in.
Yeah. My final question, what rules have you broken and why?
Quite a few, I feel. To start with, choosing golf as a sport, which, they say it's an old man sport. And when I was in school, I was often bullied about it, that it's an old man sport and you're only 10, blah, blah, blah. Being the only girl to start with at DLF, and there were not many girls who would play golf at that time. And also probably trying to find myself related to the conversation that we had. Being me. My golf doesn't dictate how I behave, whereas I am me and golf is a part of me. So probably these few things, yeah.
Great. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely. I mean, you have so much knowledge about the game, so it was nice interviewing with you.
Thank you. Thank you.